Introduce you to our Accelerate session guest speaker. Guys, today we're fortunate enough to interview Travis Young from Reborn. Travis, how are you, buddy?
Very good, thank you, Steve. How are you?
Mate, I'm really good. We were just talking prior to recording the session, and Shine and Jody sort of logging in that we've known each other in a past life. I was playing football with your brother.
Yeah.
So good to reconnect. But for those that I haven't, I guess, heard of your brand before, what were you sort of doing before fitness? Give us a bit about your background.
My story is a lot different to most success stories, I suppose. Whereas I started PTing when I was 19, and I was just doing it out of my parents' like basement and at local parks. And then I got my own factory when I was 20 years old and started renting. Me and a business partner who's around the same age as me. We started a gym called Keep It Young, and back then it was all about looking good, big arms, six pack, toned tummies, those types of things. And to be honest, we did really well. Like considering we were like young kids, we did really, really well. But my that gym actually failed because of my own issues with drugs, alcohol, and gambling. So I got to a breaking point where like I was considering ending it all. And
Oh,
instead of doing that, I went to rehab and I went and did a 28-day program. And when I was in the program, about 3 weeks in, and we're sitting around in a big circle. And have you seen on in movies when they're like, "Hi, I'm Travis, I'm a drug addict." So it's exactly like that, by the way. So I'm
okay.
in one of these group circles, and one day this guy got told he had to stay there for another, I don't know, it might have been another 2 months or 2 weeks, whatever it may be. And he starts kicking off, getting all upset about, he's got to stay there. And this girl over here starts getting upset because she's been there for 6 months and blah, 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 blah. And then now our counselor stops everyone and goes, "Look, only 2% of you will stay sober for 6 months if you only do the 28-day program." And everyone starts kicking up and getting even more upset. And I'm sitting there, I'm sitting like this, arms crossed, not saying anything. I'm normally pretty vocal in these groups for like the last few weeks. And my counselor was sitting directly from me and asked me, he goes, "Trav, why aren't you saying anything?" And I just looked at him and I stopped and I go, "Because I'm going to be the 2%." The whole room just went dead quiet. I said, "Well, this is the first and this is the last time I'll ever come to rehab." And when I left that 28-day program, I came home and I wanted to start a new gym. And I didn't want to start another gym that was all focused on the aesthetics. I wanted to focus on something that was going to be, beneficial for people's mental health, but also their lifestyle and kind of get away from that aesthetic. And that's where Reborn came from. And that was 8.5 years ago. I'm still 100% sober. And
Well
we
done, mate.
now have over 700 members at Reborn. So that's my story. It can go quite deep into it. And I'll do some speaking gigs for it sometimes. And yeah, it's pretty dark, but yeah, that's where Reborn came from.
And was part of the like running the business, was that part of the story or part of the stress that sort of you think led you down the track of alcohol and gambling addiction or
Yeah, so
unrelated?
it definitely played a part. One of the biggest things for me was that I was going through like a relationship issue. Like my then girlfriend was pregnant and I was young. I didn't want to have a kid at that age, and also the business stresses as well. Those two things, yeah, are manageable if you can communicate those things. But me, young male, huge ego, didn't want to communicate with anyone, didn't want to talk to anyone about it, didn't want to tell anyone that I had any problems. Rather than talking and kind of, venting these frustrations that I was having to one, my girlfriend, then or also, other people, I just bottle it up. And the way that I did that was that, you try and escape. As an addict, you're not trying to get high. People think that you're chasing a high. You're not. You're actually chasing to escape and become numb and not feel anything. Right. So that was my way of
Mm.
dealing with problems. So it was definitely was the stress of the business, but nowhere near as amount of stress with the personal issues that I was facing with that girl. So I didn't want to be with her anymore either. So that was my ex. I then had Jet, who he is almost 10. But then when I broke up with her, I then went now with my now wife, Chloe, and that was very disruptive around the area. You grew up in the Shire, so you understand how everyone lives inside a little bubble. So
Mm.
those are the things that really affected me to really like jump heavily into drugs and alcohol and gambling. Like if you hadn't met me back then, you would have thought I was just the same as every other kid my age. But I just always, I've got that personality where if I'm doing something, whether it's good, bad, ugly, I'm doing it the best ability I can, and I'm giving it a red hot crack. So that's how it
Which
happened.
is probably a helpful trait when you want to build such a successful new brand,
Yep.
and get 700 members. Like you've got to be stubborn. You've got to be sort of very one track mind. At the same time, it's and it takes an amazing test of character to be that decisive sitting there in that meeting and know on the day. I'm sure a lot of people have said that before, but you got very strong will.
Yeah. Well, I made up my mind really early when I was in rehab as well of what I wanted to achieve. I remember the first counseling session I had with my counselor one-on-one. He said to me, if you want to live a happy, healthy life, you can never drink, take alcohol, or gamble again. No, sorry, take drugs or gamble again. I remember him sitting there and I was just like, okay. He was like, oh, how do you feel? And I said, well, if that's what I've got to do, then that's just what I've got to do. It was like a light, not so much like a light switch, it was just very black and white for me.
Yes.
And
Yep.
that just put it into context. 'Cause look, I'd always committed suicide. So you can't get any lower than that. The
Mm,
only way you can go lower than that is inside the coffin. So it was either like learn from this mistake and then move on, or like kind of sit in that victim mentality, which a lot of addicts do. They blame auntie, uncle, mom, dad, whatever it may be. You met my parents. You were coached by my dad. You know that my
yeah.
parents is great. So I knew that, right? So there was I was fortunate that I didn't have any trauma from growing up or anything like that that I had to deal with as well. So I think that's a huge underlying issue of why a lot of addicts can't quite get it right. But for me, fortunately, like I love my mom and dad. I never blame them once. It's definitely not their fault. It's just me as a person, my personality, and I've always danced to the beat of my own drum. So whether it's good, bad, or otherwise.
Look, I know we've got some gym owners on the call today, and we'll get a bunch that'll watch the recording as well. I almost feel like it's a little bit of a lighthouse, like in that, we're running the same fitness business sort of models that we're running, good family, in that pretty competitive mindset. But you've said now you've changed your circle of influence. You're around different people. You obviously redid the brand. Tell us about Reborn. How does the model work for those that haven't sort of seen it before?
Okay, so Reborn, we're predominantly a group training facility, right? So we've got four different rooms at Reborn. We've got the main arena, and just near that room is like your big cardio room. Then we've got a strength room where you just do all your strength training. And then we've got a boxing room as well. The best way to probably describe it, I think most of your guys would have either seen a rumble or a hustle. It's very
Yep.
similar. Dark room, all black, the water bags, the LED lights, those types of things. So we've got the three group rooms, and
Yep.
then we've got the one PT room.
Okay.
And how it works is majority of our members are group training, right? So we've got our $70 a week membership, which is for our mums and bubs. That's our 7 to 9 a.m. classes that we do Monday to Friday, plus our Saturday classes. Then
Yep.
our $80 a week unlimited is just all the classes, and that just involves, so both of them involve open gym, but the unlimited that also offers all the classes and open gym. And on top of that, but see this kind of more of a separate business, is we've got Refresh. So Refresh is our recovery center. So
Yeah.
in Refresh, we've got the three traditional saunas, the hot and the cold pools, which I'm sure we're going to get into more detail soon. And then we've got six recliner seats that we have the Normatex as well. So we've got the recovery center, we've got the group class, we've got the PT studio, but one of our other X factors is we've got a big crèche too. So A huge market in the Shire for us is our mums. And what
Yes.
we do is we have a creche that would honestly be bigger than probably most people's gyms. Like it's big. And
Wow.
we have anywhere from 2 to 3 nannies because a lot where we saw the gap in the market is that a lot of our gyms are shutting down their creche. I get it. The
Yes.
mums are generally the hardest members to have. But we found that if we were able to, solve the problem of having the kids being looked after by 2 or 3 nannies in a really nice environment, like everything
Yes.
at Reborn is like I gave the design brief to my designer that I wanted it to feel like everyone's second home. So like the bathrooms and the amenities, they look like a hotel when you go into them. They're really high end. And then everything else just has a real home effect, completely opposite to a normal gym. Most gyms are black. Mine was at the start, it was all black, it was dark, but now everything's white, it's bright, it's completely different because we wanted to always stand out. So there are big things, right? So we've got the three rooms that are all group training. We've got the PT studio, we've got the creche, and then
Yes.
we've got the recovery center. So that's what we do. Recovery center is, like I said, it's a separate business. So if you want to use recovery on your own, on its own, sorry, it's $60 a week. But we have an add-on membership for our members, so they can either do it unlimited for $40, so they get like a $20 discount, or they can do one a week for 19.99. So it's a really good way to think of it like at Macca's when you say, would you like fries with that? It's just that
Just
not
the easy upsell.
really, really easy. And it's the best to throw in like little deals for people. Like, if you do such and such, you'll get 2 weeks free refresh. And I'll go through that when we get to I think the question that I answered that in is what worked well this year.
Yeah, I love I can see a lot of people showing more interest in sauna and recovery. I see brands in like near Manly, there's a franchise called Recovery,
Yeah, been
but
to it.
I often felt like it was positioned to like the Manly rugby league players. They're so sore after a game that you would go in there. And I love that you've called it refresh because it doesn't feel like you have to be an athlete to benefit from it. It could be just for, just to recuperate, to get some quiet time to, yeah, offset a busy house or work schedule or something.
Okay, fun fact about the name Refresh. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. I randomly wake up and I go, Refresh. That's the name of the recovery center. I went onto ASIC and bought the name of Refresh at 2 o'clock in the morning when I thought of it. Because
It's,
it just came to me one night. I was like, that's the one. That's what, because exactly, because all the other ones, it just makes it feel like it's only for athletes and you have to be,
yeah.
a professional sportswoman or man to go use these things. Whereas I want to be like everyone's an athlete, everyone can use it.
I've got a couple of gym memberships myself. I know it's ironic as a gym owner to have gym memberships, but I go to like Virgin Active and I've enjoyed sitting in the sauna. I've enjoyed sitting in the plunge pool and stuff. But I was definitely that person that thought it was just for athletes after you'd run the sandhills or after you'd been smashed or running out a marathon or something like that. So good. I got so many questions. So my understanding, so you've been going for years now, like 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
Did you just start with the three group rooms and then add the creche and the gym access later, or how did it sort of grow when you changed like and went? I understand you reinvested into a new site.
Yeah, okay. So when we first started Reborn, it was only like 130 squares. All I had was, say, a one group room,
Yep.
creche, right? That was the first one. Then when I moved to my second Reborn, we had the main arena, and then there was also like a PT studio,
Yep.
very loosely because it switched up a few times. But when we really kicked is when we brought in the strength as well. So
Mm,
we brought in the strength, and then we brought in the boxing as well, and we continued to add the facility that I had the ability to do it. We put in an extra mezzanine, and once we did that, we could like really take advantage of it. So we added it along the way, and it was honestly we just kept asking our members along the way, like, what do you want to do? And as well, you can feel the trend and see the trends in the fitness industry as well. And strength for me in the last probably 3, 4 years has really ramped up. I remember when I first started going to the gym when I was 16, 17, you'd very rarely even see a girl in the gym doing weights that is. And then as time's gone on, like there's more girls doing strength than boys, which is fantastic. It's so important for all of us to be doing strength. So we just kind of went with the trends, but also we listen to our members a lot and what
Yeah.
we get from them.
And it's counterintuitive. A lot of people were pulling back, like your fitness first were pulling back from the creche, and you've gone, well, mums have got to train somewhere. So you've actually invested into that space when everyone else was sort of pulling out of it. And you found that's paid off well for you, the like because it obviously takes staffing and wages and stuff.
Yeah, because the thing about mums, they don't come one out. They come in groups of threes and fours as well. So a lot of time when you get, a couple mums that will come through, that normally, if your product and your service is on point, that normally leads to three, four, five more friends. So
Yep.
that's what we noticed with the mums as well. Plus, our target avatar is a family orientated person, right? So the gym is based off a very family orientated gym. So we couldn't have the gym without the crash. It's a part of like I said to you before we started this. Like I've got 3 kids. Like it's a part of what we do. My business, my manager, he has 3 kids as well. Like
Does he?
where our kids are like, oh, like I think the maximum space part's like 6 months for the kids. So and 2 boys, 1 girl, exactly in the same order. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so everything we do is very family orientated, and it really, it's what's at our core as well. So it works really well for us.
It's a big engine now. Like there's millions of dollars in turnover. And yeah, I love that your average spend is quite high. Like if you compare it to even an
Yeah.
F45 model or something around the corner, they must be all around you. $60, $65 a week. You look like you've come in around that kind of 70, 80, and
Yeah.
then potentially they spend more with the refresh stuff. So
Yeah.
what are you sort of finding average spend?
So the average spend would be like for the membership wise, it's around the $85 mark because we got about
So good.
25% of our members on the refresh membership as well. But
Yes.
another kicker for us is that we've got the coffee, which I forgot to mention. When we come into our reception, we've got like a mini cafe as well.
Okay.
Now, this is the golden nugget of our business, right? Because 9 times out of 10, all gyms do the same stuff, right? We've all got the power racks, we've all got the salt bikes, the ski, the row, and the bike erg.
Yep.
Now, sled tracks, most of our programming is pretty much identical. But what makes the difference is what your members are able to do before and after classes, right? Because when you get in the trenches with your members and they're training together, like there's that bond mate, but it's solidified at the end of every class. And if they've got somewhere where they can sit and have a coffee after, that's when friendships. I've noticed it this year because we didn't have it last year. The amount of friendships in our at Reborn that have blossomed, right? They're always friends. All these people have always been friends. But I was speaking to 3 of my members yesterday, all males, all completely different age groups, right? So one of them is only 22, the other one's 26, and then my mate who's 34, right? He's a couple of years younger than me. They all said to me on the same day that in the last 8 months, that their best friends now are all at the gym. And I honestly put it down to just from having the coffee there. Coffee is a wonderful thing, right? It makes you feel good. But when you couple that with the satisfaction of training alongside someone, there's a connection that you make, and everyone wants to be connected to something.
Yeah.
So that honestly, it's been a big golden nugget for us as well. And obviously, there's the profits and the margin you make off the coffee, but honestly, I just look at what it does for our members and the experience that they have as well.
I remember going to Los Angeles, like going through Hollywood, trying all the different gyms, and you'd go into like a Soul Cycle or something, and they'd always have a cafe next door or within their business, and everyone had sort of go in as a group and all go out, and they'd be sitting out there for an hour after the class. We were on holiday, so we'd just sit there for the hour. And I was thinking, well, doesn't everyone else have to be somewhere? But it was amazing how that was the glue to sort of keep everyone interacting and socializing. Um, I also think men are particularly bad. Like you've obviously shared your story around addiction and that, but I think men are lazy socially. I think really rely on alcohol to get together. Like you and I have friends that we've played sport with and stuff in the past, and or if I catch up with friends from uni, it's generally an invite. Hey, do you want to go and get a beer? And coffee's so good like that, where you can actually do it on a Tuesday morning before work. It's healthier for you as well.
And that's a good point as well, right? So Reborn, like the philosophy of building the hub was to create a one-stop shop because think about how busy our lives are these days, and particularly in the city for you guys, it's honestly get in, get out, straight to work, like get on a train, whatever it is, get in the car. What we do with our members as well, when they walk through the door, we always there was us. Would you like a coffee after your class? So then they can pre-order before the class starts, and then when the class finishes, they walk out and the coffee's there, and they're good to go as well. So it's
Mm.
another thing that just adds to you. You want to try and like for me, it was all about trying to make everyone's life as frictionless as possible and having one-stop shop that could solve all their fitness and health needs. So that's it
Yeah.
really worked for us.
So you shared the experience that your goal is to create a one-stop shop where you can include things like strength, boxing, gym access, creche, all of that type of stuff. You spoke about you've charged out at a higher rate than some other facilities, but it sounds like you've invested into a better looking facility, so it feels a bit more boutique and stuff as well.
Definitely.
What about staff? What does your team look like to run a business with 700 members in it?
So we've just hired two new staff. So we've got 12 trainers.
Yep,
Um, God, I think nine of them are on salary. We've
yep,
got three nannies. We've got four front of house staff.
yep,
Um, we've got like I wouldn't say she's a full-time cleaner, but we've got a cleaner that's there very often, and then we also have an external cleaner that comes in twice a week as well. And then we have
yep.
two videographers as well, which I think that's where that if I was going to be putting any emphasis on like what to do in the future, it would be around the content and trying
Okay.
to content as you possibly can. So we had one full-time videographer. We've had him since the start. That's my cousin.
Yes.
And then
Okay.
I've got another one now. And how it's going to work is one's going to focus on short form, the other one's going to focus on long form. So short form could be anywhere from like 5 to 30 seconds,
Yep.
and long form is going to be anywhere for like podcasts and documentaries. But then if they're doing a clip off that, it'll be like a minute long, or
Yep.
we'll do a story around a member, and it might be like their day in their life or something like that, where it's a little bit longer. So short content that's just a bit quick, fiery, and like and grabs your attention, and then the longer forms of content. So yeah, lots going on down there. There is a lot.
And would you say that's what's sort of unique about your the what's public facing in terms of like member acquisition? A lot of places, a 24-hour gym would have a 7-day free trial or something like that. A lot of places are running ads on Facebook or signage or something out the front. But I wouldn't expect many gyms to have the same level of like full-time videographer or have that level of sort of stories. Do you feel like that's a point of difference for you guys?
Yeah, it always has been as well. So our content's always been really, really good. And sadly as well, we're kind of where the world's going, especially
Yeah.
since COVID, everyone's so reliant on their phones and their tablets, and that's where the attention's going. So wherever the attention goes, it's generally where the cash flows as well. So
Okay.
that's why we put a lot of work into that. And we try. I don't really think we nail it all the time, but I think we do a pretty good job of trying to make the story about the member, not so much about Reborn as well. Try not
Yeah,
to
I love that.
like a lot. I feel like a lot of gyms that they from their social media it just looks like they're constantly trying to sell.
Yep.
If you fall into that trap, then you're not going to get a good level of engagement. Whereas we try to like our form of content is always to try and provide value through three different ways, and that's to educate,
Yep.
entertain, or be aesthetically pleasing, right? And the first two is what we mainly focus on, and how we try to do that is through storytelling in particular. So not just talking about the gym, but you talk about members' experiences, but again, not through the gym. Like where have they come from? What have they done to get from X to Z? Those types of things, and really focusing on the member, not trying to always look like yourself. So it's like that classic Gary V line where he's to throw the jab, like give value, give value, give value. Then you throw the right hook in terms of like some sort of offer, and that's what we try to do. We always try to make sure we give you value. And then when we have like a challenge or something coming up, then it's easy to sell that way because you provided so much value along the way for the people on the other side watching your content.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's great. I know I've heard that type of narrative before, and I've tried to follow it myself. But I think you often get dragged back to, quick call to action at the end of each video, and it's probably overkill. I'm
Yeah.
trying to follow the ratio at the moment of 5 to 1, where 5 pieces of content, value add stories versus one call to action. And yeah, it sounds like you're getting that balance down pat, where when you do ask or you promote a challenge or something, it actually comes across, quite helpful. Do you get your staff to sell? Are they specifically just for like fitness and exercise prescription? Are they writing programs? What do their roles look like?
So three of my staff members that like we have a sales team, so there's three of them. So Paddy's
Yep.
like he's our operation manager, he's our big dog. Honestly, if he wasn't in he's the one that was with me on that chat. He's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Okay.
When we speak about sales, he's the king. He's very, very good. He's been doing it for years and years now. And we worked with a mentor earlier on in our business career, and that's been pivotal for us, right? We couldn't have been able to do what we did without him because we didn't know, like, because selling's a psychology thing, right? And once you understand like how people think and what actually when people buy from emotion, like you learn the things to say. So we wouldn't have learned any of those things. It would have been very it would have been very rusty to start with. So we have Paddy, he's like our head of sales, and then
Yep.
he's been grooming Blake. He's like a diamond in the rough. He came out of nowhere, and he's been unbelievable. He does all of our fast track sales. So sorry, Paddy does all our general leads, so just people calling generally. Then Blakey does all of our fast track sales. So that's our offer, our promotion that we're always kind of selling in the background on Facebook ads. And then Bria, who's just come on as well, she's doing our sell by chat thing. So
Yeah, cool.
which we were talking about before, where we go on and this has only just started in the last couple of weeks, so it's still in that very much in that trial stage. But in the last 3 weeks, like she's only just learned it, and I think she's made 4 sales just
Great.
from the chats that she has over Instagram. So like the general basic rundown already, someone follows you on Instagram, you follow them back, and then you start a conversation with them.
Yep.
And the idea of it is conversions happening in conversation. So you just start a conversation and then just follow the script. And then from that, get them in. So we've got three different ways that people are coming in. One through our general leads, two through our fast track, and now through our sell by chat as well.
What sort of percentage or monthly marketing budget do you try and allocate to growing?
See, Paddy does all the sales, all the lead, the Facebook lead stuff. I'm not 100% across that. I think it
Okay.
would be, so I think it'd be around five. Oh, actually, no, I'd be guessing if
Okay.
I haven't seen it in ages. So Paddy, he's the man. I'd be stuck without him. So he runs all of that. I'm not too
Yep.
sure what it would be though. What's a general? What do people normally spend?
Like as a general rule, they might say to spend 5% of your turnover or something like that. But a typical F45 might do 400,000 turnover or something. So if you guys are up over 3 million in turnover, you might not need 5%. That's a huge budget. And the other one is like, I don't know if you, how many members do you want? Like if you've got 700, is there sessions that are starting to get full? Is you
Yeah.
probably can't do 1,400 in a site that big, could you?
No, so we're about 1,300 squares.
Yep.
So we'll cap out, I think around 800. But the hard thing for us, right, is our morning classes are probably about 30, 40 members away from being sold out, like at
Yeah,
capacity.
interesting.
But then in the Argos, we're very much a morning gym. We could still get another 200 members through there.
Yes.
So game plan is, and this is all theory based at the moment, so you can touch back in a year and see how it's gone.
Yeah, sure.
The theory is once we hit capacity at say around that 650 mark in terms of our unlimited membership, which is where the majority of the morning people go,
Yep.
we'll bring an evening membership, which will also be slightly cheaper, like the mums and bubs. So the mums and bubs can only go to the 7 and the 9 a.m. And then I'll create a
Yes.
membership that you can only come to the 4 and 6 p.m. and I'll make it slightly discounted as well. That's the $70.
Yes.
And I have unlimited the $70 mums and the $70 of the evening membership. So then I can start driving our Facebook ads towards that specifically, towards those people that are, not morning people, work in the city or whatever it is and need to get back and train in the evening. So I don't know if it'll work, but as I always do, I just kind of go off my gut instinct. And if
Yeah.
it works, great. If it doesn't, it's just another learning lesson along the way.
Look, it's an interesting one. We've done with personal trainers. We might have 8 to 10 trainers full on a Friday morning, like no appointments free between, 6 o'clock and 10 a.m. or something. Um, So you don't want to sell any more Friday mornings. You obviously got to find, well, who trains at other times, and it's definitely something you can adjust with your marketing. So it's that off-peak incentive where someone goes, you know what, I'm pretty flexible. We've found you've got like uni students that'll often dart off, do a little bit of uni, and then they pop up around sort of 3 or 4 in the afternoon or something. But it's just thinking about who the demographic is that's a little bit more flexible or can sort of get in the afternoons. And yeah, we could double the size of our gym without it feeling crowded just by getting more of the people to come in on those off-peak times.
How good would it be, right? Like if we can solve that problem, I can get another 200 people in here. But yeah, it's just trying to get them the right people, like you said, into those time slots. And once we get them in as well, providing a good enough service, then being able to, upsell them to the refresh as well.
Is there like sporting teams or anything that like is there any interest in schools or sporting teams, or is it's quite a different model? Would you entertain sort of afternoon groups that come in a group of people?
Yeah, we do that often. So through like just generally schools, we have 4 schools a week,
Yeah,
um,
great.
the middle of the period of the day, and then we also like what the Shire's like. We've got thousands of teams, so with the network that we've got just through our members, every time it rains, and we had one of the rainiest seasons ever here. I don't know what it was like over your way, but I'm pretty sure it was all the same up and down the East Coast.
Didn't rain in God's country, mate. There was just sun the whole time.
Unbelievable. So sport every weekend. So we were. This sounds bad because it was the kids that missed out. But we were really fortunate this year where we had maybe 7 or 8 weeks where our kids didn't get to play sport. So we jumped on that straight away. We had an offer for all of the teams to come in and like it was like really simple. It was like $10 a head for the kids under 12 and $15 a head, and they could just jump in our classes if they're old enough, or we have a trainer and our trainer will be able to, because we've got the 3 different rooms. If one room was being used, we were able to use the other one. So we really capitalize on that throughout all of winter. But we have a lot of affiliations with teams as it is. We have a few of the Sharks players coming in, Dragons, Bulldogs, South, stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I love the connection you just made that it's generally through your members. I think
Always.
sometimes we come up with these great ideas in terms of marketing or, how to fill the facility in times when it's most quiet. But, just going and knocking on doors like a cold call is not much fun. So yeah, just chat to someone and ask what they're doing when it rains or when there's no option for training. I think it's smart.
Yeah, well, honestly, it's where it all came from. Like, I coach my boys, they're sevens or eights, what sevens this
Yep.
year. So I coach them. So I was doing it. I was bringing my kids in, and we were doing a training session through the gym as well because they didn't get to play for so long or even train for so long. So yeah, it's really good to do that too because it also gets your members tighter with your community as well.
Do you last sell or Cronulla carrying bar?
Yeah. I'm not happy about it.
Turn,
Look, it's
it's
not the same
changed.
though. You're not down here anymore because you remember when we used to play? It's
Yeah,
just
I know.
buildings now. It's gone.
I've heard the
It's not
everyone
the
gets on
same.
the bandwagon. Ah, well,
It's not the same. So where Canela Kmart was, we have a running. So my gym backs onto a running track, right? That running
yeah,
track
well,
is all the way down the back of where Canela Kmart was. So like I'll run past, I'm like, this is where one try line was. You remember there's the two fields?
yeah,
We run like it's me. Do you remember? Oh no, he was a year younger than me, but you might have seen him play footy. Brad Tuckerini. He played for Para, Gold Coast. He
okay,
was aiming for Para, but like that's where most people would see. We played together, and he's one of my trainers, and we run past it sometimes. Like he used to score tries there, Tucker. Now it's concrete. Oh,
now it's concrete. What a shame.
yeah, it
Yeah,
sucks.
it's definitely changed.
Not happy about it.
Hey, tell me about this fast track you call it. Like that's predominantly people come on. Is that where they sort of pay a set amount to trial the facility? Is there like a gym tour, a movement screen at the start, or more like a traditional sort of group model where they come in, try the class, and you chat to them later?
Yeah,
How do
so
you onboard them?
how it works is it's the only promotion that we really run. So it's run like in a stealth manner. Our Facebook targets all our non-members. And what it is, it's a 4 week program. It's the only thing we discount, right, in terms of membership. So it's 199, where normally where it'll be 320 for 4 weeks. So what we do is our Blake will give the lead a call, and then he'll go through the script. And then through the script, he asks a series of questions that basically it's like you would know, it's like peeling the layers off an onion and just slowly gets deeper and deeper and deeper through the questions until it comes down to, this is the real reason why they want to, lose 5 kilos, get faster, get fit, or
Yep,
whatever. Get fit, tone up, lose weight. It's the
yep,
three they always say at the start, but then there's always that reason why. Well, I need to lose weight because me and my husband are trying to get pregnant, or
yep.
it's, I had this one guy say to me once, and it broke my heart. So when my firstborn was really young too, and he was saying that he needs to lose weight because he got, those the play centers with all the soft play areas and you climb
Yep.
up all the different stuff. He got his son got stuck at the top and he had to go up and try and save him, but then he got stuck because he was too
Oh,
big.
that's sad.
So sad. And I felt so bad for that guy. He's still at the gym too. So yeah, we offer that. It's like an intro to the gym, and
What
then
do you
from
charge for the 4 weeks?
199.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're
It's
normally
good because it's not free. There's obviously some level of qualification that they have to put their money where their mouth is. At the same time, it's not too dissimilar from the regular sort of price point.
yeah.
I sometimes see people, they've got a $10 trial and then their product's $100 a week, and I think
Yeah, it's too far. We
yeah,
did it at the start, Steve. We were, I remember when we first started doing the sales, we were killing it. We were getting so many people in, but then we couldn't convert. And we're like, why can't we convert? And it's like
mm,
our offer was too cheap, was too far away from what our actual product was, right? So then we
yep,
did that shift and it's slowly gone further and further up. And it'll probably continue to go further and further up as we get closer and closer to capacity as well.
yep.
That
Yeah,
goes,
I love it. What do you find? So that's the sort of main way you're on board people. You said marketing, yeah, it's usually your offsider that sort of does a lot of that stuff, Paddy, in terms of budgeting and stuff like that. But you said you do stuff with schools, predominantly a female demographic. What percentage would you say are female members?
you know,
Yeah,
25.
well,
Yeah. Or
Okay.
it's funny because our 5 a.m. class, all dudes, pretty much. It's probably 90 to 10. 90% 10% girls, and then the
Yeah.
rest of the class, and just as the day goes on, just gets more and more like, and then our mums and bubs class, obviously, that's like 95% girls, 5% boys. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
You mentioned that you've sort of got a bit more of a process now. You've got a couple of staff that handle the sales, and it is a bit of trial and error. You've got to find a process that you're sort of comfortable with. We do a bunch of sort of training with our staff on sales. Is there certain things that you've found to really help in terms of someone seeing $85 a week value in what you're doing when they could go to a Snap Fitness for $15 a week?
yeah. So where they see the values, it's really really simple, right? So first of all, on that sales call, we barely even talk about the gym. We try not to speak about the gym. The only thing we want to speak about is them.
Yeah,
So the
it's good.
whole time, the whole focus is just on that person and what their needs are. At the end, we'll talk about the gym, but it's say it's a 15-minute conversation, 13 minutes is about that, and you let them speak. So the focus is always on the member. Now, if anyone listening out there, right, if you didn't listen to anything that I said for this whole time, this is the only part you need to really listen to, right? So what makes us so much different from every other gym is so simple, is that we learn everyone's name and we learn everyone's story, right? And when every time our member walks in the door, they're greeted by their name with enthusiasm. Every time they leave a class, they're left with a high five and their name again. Because everyone's favorite word is their own name. And if you can do those things really well, consistently, then you'll end up packing out your gym. I know I didn't speak about a rower, a salt bike, nothing. It's about those things because people want to feel cared about. Now, it doesn't matter how much information you know, how much knowledge you have, how much experience you have. If you do not show that you care about a member, they don't care about what you know. So you need to show them care. And by getting to know them shows that you care about them. So we do this in every single meeting where our trainers, we go around, we have a 1 minute 30 time. And in that 1 minute 30, you have to say two names, two stories. So one name is from someone that's an established member, someone that's been there for a while now. And then the second one is a newer member. So then when we're sitting around a table of 12 different trainers, one, that person is able to talk about one of our members, but then all the other 11 trainers now know something else about that member. So I'll give you an example. So there was a guy, first ever Travis in Reborn, except for myself, obviously, in 8.5 years, blown away. Like there's Dave's for galore, Nick's everywhere, Sally's for fun, first Travis ever. So he was at the gym yesterday, and he was one of the other trainers. One name, one stories on Monday, and and the trainer was talking about how it was his birthday on the 4th, and that he was doing a construction site out Bengaroo, and that he's been in that construction site for two months, right? So he walks in the door as I was sitting there talking to another member. I'm like, Trav, it's your birthday in 2 days, isn't it? Looks at me, he's like, yeah, how did you know? I said, oh, one of the boys told me that it's your birthday. Happy birthday for a couple of days. And I go, how's the travel been into Broome lately? You been getting much traffic? He's like, yeah, it's been.
Wow.
How did you know that? I said, oh, like,
Looks
Tomislav
like
told
you've been stalking him on social media.
yeah, I go, Tomislav told me. He goes, oh, did he? I go, yeah. And I go, like, he was saying, you're working on this side and it's been taking this. And then that conversation started with that person. Right. So then he then walks away and thinks, geez, these guys like they listen, like they care. They want to get to know who I am, and they
Yep,
genuinely and that it has to come from a genuine place. You can't just
I
not care.
agree.
You have to genuinely want to care, and that comes from like who you are, I suppose, as well. But yeah, if you listen to one thing, that's it right there. Just learn their names, learn their stories, greet them with enthusiasm, and say their name at the start and end of a class. Boom. You're welcome.
What do you say to those gym owners that say, "Oh, but there's hundreds of names. How could I possibly learn all of them?"
Well, that's what there's 700 at ours. And that's why when we have these meetings, it's another reason why. And you get to know them. Like when Pat would describe, Sally who's just started, she's blonde hair, she's got two kids, she's got a niggling knee injury and these types of things. Like it flags when you hear Sally, you're like, oh, Sally's here. I'm like, oh, Sally, knee, two kids. Like it
Yeah,
just if you're constantly having the feedback loop of like every single Monday meeting we go through this, and it's like on the highest of priorities for our trainers is to learn everyone's name and their story. You've just got to put the time and effort into it, and it is probably the one thing that we focus on the most out of all of our different things. Every personal trainer we pretty much know all the same things, and you can get caught up in running the best program, the best training session, and all that. But you need to nail that part first, and then focus on the session, and then
yep,
focus on the technique cues that you're doing. But like I said, coming back to what I said, people don't care about what you know until you show that you care about them. So that it's for you, it's personal before it's training, right?
yep.
Personal first before it's training, and
Yeah, love
that's
that.
that's what we that's our bread and butter. That's what we do, and it's why we're being able to succeed so much.
Have you ever tracked member retention or like average length of
Oh,
stay? This stuff must play a role. Surely you're retaining members longer when you go to this much trouble to know them and show an interest in them.
oh, okay. So one of your questions was what have been our wins in the last 6 to 12 months? The biggest thing, and like I'm what since I was 19, I'm like 15, 16 years into this. I only started doing this last year. So the biggest thing that I noticed in the last 6 months was the biggest factor for retention was engagement within your members, right? So what we did this time, I'm about to do it now. So if you're listening to this and you're a gym owner, now's the time to start thinking about this. We have a Facebook group with all of our members in it. Right? As soon as they get added, they get as soon as they join, they get an email and I'll give them the Facebook link. Right. And then in that Facebook, I do a video. I'm like, hey, next year we've got these 5 options of events that we're doing that we want to do. I want you guys to tell us which 3 you want Reborn to do, right? So they lean on Gold Coast, High Rocks, and Southern Surf. Southern Surf's a local running event, if you guys didn't know. Now, out of that, we had 40 members come up to Gold Coast with us. We had 72 do High Rocks, and then we had about 80 something doing Southern Surf, right? So then once I asked everyone, I had the list of people that wanted to do these events. We put each of these people into a WhatsApp group, and then I started a program for them. Now, what happened within those WhatsApp groups is unbelievable. So I started it, and it was honestly, it was just like I threw it out. And I'm like, all right, everyone needs to start with when you get added to this group, 2 truths, 1 lie. So you got to say 2 truths, and then everyone's got to
I
guess.
love that.
Mate, it went off. It went off. Like it was so good. So we had the WhatsApp groups. That was before the year even started. And then we always have our four challenges. And that's the one at the start of the year, one that's after Easter, the one to get through winter, which I'll go into depth in a second. That one's a crucial one. And then the one at the end of the year. The two at the start and the end, the transformation ones. We've just started a new one, actually, to be honest. It's going to be like a 75 hard style program, but it's called 56 strong, but not as strict. Anyways, so getting people involved in some sort of event, we've noticed that people are a lot more engaged, right?
Yeah,
So
good.
all the way through, we've asked them what they wanted to do before the year started. Then we give them the challenge that starts the year off. And then here's a big one, right? When you're about to start winter, so 1 to 2 months before winter, so get in early, send out an email to all of your members saying, how can we help you get through winter? Now, when they write back, you're going to get probably 3 to 5 things that flag and like they constantly keep coming up, right? Most ours was accountability and they wanted free stuff. Always wanted free stuff. Accountability, free stuff, and it was our Winter Warrior program. They wanted this Winter Warrior program, which is a free program. Now, biggest thing is once you get the feedback from your members, this is a really important part. You have to then straight away get back in front of the camera and say, all right, guys, from the feedback that you've given us, these are the three main things that came up. List those things and say, we're going to action them. Plus, and there'll always be like two or three really easy things. It might be change the music playlist.
Yep.
What's another really easy
But
one?
acknowledging that you've actually listened to their feedback and you're doing something with it, which is unique in itself.
Exactly. But here's the best part. They're giving you the cheat sheet. They're telling you what they want. All you got to do is deliver. And if you deliver, when people feel like they're being heard, they feel like they're being cared about, and then they feel connected. So if you can like listen to what they say and action it, they're going to feel like I was a part of that. You're taking them along with the journey with you, and they're feeling a part of that decision. Now, to get back to you, I know I just went around a little circle. From that, right? This year we've had our lowest churn rate ever. We average under 0.82% was the average for the last 3 months per week. Our retention, that's how low we got. Now,
Which is nuts at that size facility. Yeah, I love that. You're definitely doing far more
yeah.
than most gyms to engage and learn their story and stuff. Do you write notes and stuff in the CRM, or the guys just remembering it all?
No. They're like, we've got a spreadsheet, bro.
Yep.
I could send you it straight after this, right? So in our meetings, we track all of our normal numbers. So we weekly go through all the normal things, your memberships, like how many members we got, how many people suspended, how many people did we lose, how many people tried, all the leads, all that stuff. But then in the same spreadsheet, we've also got, it's called our red flags, where every single week, if you haven't turned up for a week, you'll get a message on the Monday from our VA, an email from the VA, and then Wednesday you get another message. So you get 4 points of contact, is what I'm saying, from the VA after 1 week if you don't come in. Second week, we all the trainers will take anywhere from 5 to 10 different members, and we'll send them a video message. Now it's not like you, hey, where are you? It's like this. Hey, Steve, Trav here from Reborn. They see your face. Mate, didn't see you in the last couple of weeks. I really miss you, and I just want to make sure that you're okay, and if I can do anything for you. So you're not going, hey, where are you? You need to get back to him. I generally care where you are and how you are,
Yeah.
right? They get that. So if they don't come in after a week, they got four points of contact from our VA. If they don't come in 2 weeks, they get a video message. Now this is all tracked through our spreadsheets. And then our one name, one stories, all tracked through our spreadsheet. So I could send you the spreadsheet and you could
Mate, I
learn
love it.
300 people. Yeah.
Mate, it's so good. I do the little video SMS. I do it as part of like our sales funnel. If someone inquires on Facebook and then they don't answer the phone, I'll actually just send them a personalized video message. I like doing the little welcome ones. I like the idea you guys are doing where over that sort of onboarding them and saying, hey, is everything okay? If there's something I can do, the message feels quite different than that harsh accountability, like, hey, we miss you, which I'm sure is the theme for most people's messages.
Yeah.
Hey, we've gone a completely different direction for a bunch of this video today, but it's been fantastic. I've loved learning more about how you build such a good juggernaut in such a competitive area. 700 group training members at a premium price. One of the things I was going to ask you, and I know we could obviously touch on this at a later phone call, but if you had to do the refresh thing again and you were going to pay the fit out place, to do a wet room, to put in a sauna, is there anything you do differently? What have you learnt in that process?
I think I answered this when we were in the thing, like it sounds arrogant, but we did currently how it sits, we did it like the best way I think you can. But the reason why I've been able to, nail the like the refresh area is because of how much research I did, but not like online. I literally went to recovery in Manly. Went to
Yep.
recovery in Coogee, went to recovery in Cronulla. I went to three or four different ones that were in Sydney. Like a lot of them have closed down now. There's one just around the corner from here, Liqueur. In Gold Coast, I went to P3 Rigs. There's another one up there. But anyways, what I'm getting at is I did so much research on it in terms of experience, right?
Yeah.
Like I did my research on the equipment, but the main thing that I really focus on is the experience because that is where I feel that a lot of the recovery centers let themselves down. It just was so clunky, going from this area which is dry to this area that's wet. Like you got to make sure that it really flows with your current facility and that, you're not getting out of the bathrooms, having to walk across in front of a gym or something like that before you walk into the locker room. So houses is like built separately, and that was one of the massive things that I wanted to do, and make sure that everything flows. Like you've got to really make sure that you make sure that the wet area flows really nicely, and do get a good build up as well. I mentioned it in that speech, mate. Everything that could go wrong went wrong for me, but I knew the potential downfalls before they happened. I knew that if the concrete slab wasn't thick enough, this was plan B. If the ground underneath wasn't right, then this was plan C. Like he was really good in that terms where we got unlucky and everything was. There was a lot of error, not a lot of error. So there's a lot of issues along the way with the areas that we were trying to build on. But that was just honestly it's just unlucky stuff. So
Yeah.
do
I
anything.
love that. I think, when you go and pay to visit other facilities, when you actually sit in the sauna, when you work out, you've got to walk through the reception area in your towel. That doesn't really make sense, that that layout. You take away and you chat to lots of people that have already done the fit outs, that have already sort of experienced it themselves. Um,
You always want to make things frictionless. You want to make things as comfortable as possible. There's so many options out there. You need to make it so that your product is as frictionless as possible. That people always want to come back.
is there any, because you said that you've got the compression socks, you've got plunge pools, you've got sauna. Is there any that's more popular than others?
Saunas, saunas go
Saunas.
up, saunas
Yeah,
go up.
well,
Cold pool, everyone, it's a love-hate relationship with the cold pool. And the hot pool is just the cold pool's boyfriend girlfriend. They just kind of go together. But definitely the saunas go off.
yes.
I think they're the most popular tempo.
Yeah, so good. Trav, this has been amazing, bud. I know at this hour, sort of 1 o'clock on a Wednesday, a lot of people are actually still on the gym floor themselves. So we've recorded this session and there'll be a whole bunch of people watching this video over the next couple of days. So I appreciate your transparency in sort of sharing not only your own story at the start, but the evolution of the brand is fascinating to me. Why you've sort of created this little haven away from just accountability and strength. Like it just feels like it was through each step of the process. You keep saying to me, we kept talking to the members, we kept listening to our members, and I love that. And it doesn't feel like a fad. When you see these things sort of pop up when we go to the fitness conventions and stuff, and you think, oh, wonder if that'll be around in a month or two's time. Like obviously, this is something that members are
Very
really enjoying.
facade, very superficial that stuff.
Yeah.
That's what and honestly, it all comes down to is just focusing what's within your four walls. Like if you constantly, I've seen it a lot, and I had this one guy in particular keep reaching out to me about like how to get more leads, and I said, brother, don't worry about more leads because if you've got leads coming in, even if you had 20 leads coming in every week, but you got a hole in your bucket, there's no point. You're just spinning the wheel. But
Yes.
we did, and I'll be completely transparent. We didn't nail this until about maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years. Probably a year and a half is closer. You focus on what's happening within your four walls, and that is your members, but also your trainers. Focus on those things, and if you can focus on their names, their stories, and genuinely caring about your members and your trainers' needs, then the leads will come themselves. You always hear that about community and culture and stuff like that, but a lot of gyms just bullshit that. it really you can really tell the difference between a good community, good culture when, if everyone knows each other's stories, everyone knows each other's, name and those types of things. So really focus on what's within your four walls, and the leads will sort themselves out. We get around we average 20 organic leads a week. We that's a lot more than what we get with our paid leads. And on top of that, most of the time we get an extra like 5 to 10 referrals a week as well. So if you're doing what's that you're giving the right product, and I do not mean by your programming, I do not mean by the bike skiing run. I mean, if you're giving the right service in terms of caring and getting to know your members, then your leads will sort themselves out.
Yeah, the it's so unique that focus. To your point, people say it about culture and it's all about community and they talk the talk, but it's not really evident when you go in there and you can't find a trainer to give you a hand with anything, or they still don't know your name and they're swiping your card as you sort of walk in. It's yeah, walking the talk. I love it. Trav,
Yeah.
I've taken enough of your time, buddy. You are an absolute weapon. Thank you for jumping on. If you're kind enough to share with us that document, I'd love to create something similar for my own brand where we can track more of that story for each person. That was an amazing personalized sort of service that we're definitely interested in sort of upping our level of service and community and stuff in. And yeah, mate, I will send you a little thank you as well this afternoon. You're a champion,
I go jump down in the hot and cold pools with my two boys.
mate. Enjoy, and I'll come and visit you in the Shire next time I'm in the area. I'll send you a text and come and say hello.
Done. I've got all the questions that you wrote. I've got notes. I'll share them with you as well. So I'll in an email if anyone wants to know more. It's more detailed in that as well.
You're a champion. Thanks for your time, Trav.